This is how dumb men are. If she's found a pair of underwear that wasn't hers, I'll stop at Harvey's on the way home. There's no problem a few extra hydrangeas won't cure.
I don't think so, dude. Hence, he coined the famous phrase, early to bed and early to rise makes a man unbelievably unpopular. I think we need to frame that puppy.
But the band had actually developed a dress code by this point. Bomber jackets, stripy shirts.
Chirps.
Personally, I'm thinking of changing my name to Lee Harvey Oswald and then running for president.
The millennials will go, is he related to Patton Oswald? He's funny. I like the signs that say the vehicles will be towed at owner's expense, which I thought was a given. Who else's expense would it be? Congratulations, you parked in a loading zone. So we're going to take your car on an all-expense paid trip to Rome.
This is the Snaggletooth Rock and Roll Podcast.
Season finale.
Season
40 episodes.
40 episodes, and season 4 is right around the corner.
Yeah.
And our big announcement is we have lots of new features and not the big changes we thought. So
We already teased with the artwork, which turned out awesome.
I have some more pictures to add behind us.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
We've retired Dean for the spooky season.
No, he did a great job.
Yeah. Before you know it, the leg lamp will be back out.
Yeah. But until that time, let's talk about daylight stupid time.
You know, Ben Franklin originally came up with the idea of a sort of daylight savings time. He suggested that people save on candles. What? You think this wax grows on trees? You know, he simply suggested you should just rise with the sun and go to bed when the sun goes down, no matter what the actual time. I don't think this man was ever married or had children.
I heard he originally wasn't sure where to submit these ideas, but he discovered the solar panel and pitched it to them. Sorry.
You know, 0 people were on board with Franklin's idea and suggested that he needed to fuck all the way off. I mean, hibernation instincts aside, it isn't just cohesive to like literally anyone's schedule ever.
Hence, he coined the famous phrase, early to bed and early to rise makes a man unbelievably unpopular. I think we need to frame that puppy.
Pretty boring.
I guess old Ben never had kids or had to recover from a late night bender. That isn't exactly conducive to jumping out to work in the fields at the ass crack of dawn. Christ, you have to wait until the 1960s just for the invention of ibuprofen.
At least. In fact, this was such a horrible idea just to save a few candles. The idea was not brought up again for a century. This time, George Vernon Hudson, an entomologist from New Zealand, wanted to move the clock ahead 2 hours in the spring because, get this, he wanted more time getting off his postal job to pursue his hobby of insect collecting.
Butterfly nets, really?
I am certain that this man had super poor social skills and a lot of awkward dates, showing off his creepy crawlers. Too bad he didn't have the foresight to form an alliance with the bird watchers and the solar light collectors. Everyone threw eggs at this man and went about the normal timekeeping.
The egg throwing resulted in the United Brotherhood of Chicken Farmers issuing the unlikely statement, bug collectors are assholes.
It's still a rather void to this day. It's quite a schism between them. You know, another 30 years elapsed without anyone bringing it up. But Germany were the evil minions who pulled the trigger on this time-warping idea to save energy during World War I. It was then called wartime, and it caused a shit ton of complaints when the U.S. tried it in 1918, starting for some reason on Easter Sunday. They also picked the time shift to occur at 2 a.m. because there were no trains running, so therefore no time-traveling conductors.
Complaints range from decreased attendance at religious services to too much daylight somehow interfering with landscaping. I don't understand either one. I mean, like in church, they're going, how are we supposed to be doomy and gloomy about the crucifixion if the sun's pouring in? The cost of heavy drapes is going to result in a second collection, my flock.
You know, the U.S. Board of Landscaping was quoted as saying, 2 more hours of building English gardens? Oh, hell no.
There's a lot of English references in this show. I think we're going to have to say that it's 100% British this week, but we'll get into that later.
This makes no sense because moving a clock arm has no effect on the actual sun rays. They also complained of more sunburn and a greater number of kids trapped in large kick the can marathon games and an increase in hopscotch injuries.
Your mother should never do any more kick the can activities.
No field goal kicking, none of it.
Nothing. No kicking.
So, realizing what a horrible and confusing idea it was canceled the very next year. But alas, another one of those pesky world wars, and we were right back to trying the whole harebrained idea once again. This time, unfortunately, it stuck. So now barflies everywhere and unsuccessfully argue for another hour of drinking in the fall. Nope, get the hell out, said every exhausted barmaid everywhere.
That's true.
And I was one of them for
Yes.
many years. It never works, guys.
Did it ever occur to you that there are certain entire businesses that most of their money comes from people screwing up?
Hmm.
I was thinking about this a lot this week. For example, tow truck drivers. Nobody's thrilled when AJ's towing service shows up. What, did you run out of gas, you moron? Or maybe you didn't see the no parking sign? Or maybe you thought you could just get away with blocking a fire hydrant for 5 minutes because you were just dashing in to get Brillo pads. Sorry.
I can't imagine anyone wanting to be a meter maid for that matter.
Oh my.
Everyone's reaction seeing you is fuck. And then $70. Are you serious? I guess if you're good with a stopwatch and don't mind verbal abuse, that's an odd combination.
Quite a resume. Yeah.
You also have to have nerves of steel. You ever seen a meter maid? I have, writing out a ticket as someone is basically
Screaming in her face.
screaming and blowing spit all over them, and they're just continue writing, go, can't park here. Can't park
You have
here.
to have ice water in your veins.
There you go.
Yeah. I like the signs that say the vehicles will be towed at owner's expense, which I thought was a given. Who else's expense would it be? Congratulations, you parked in a loading zone. So we're going to take your car on an all-expense paid trip to Rome. Plus, we added a free pine tree air freshener. Congratulations. Yeah, the 24-hour locksmith, he ain't making bank on giving quick-set demonstrations. He's just waiting around for you to lock yourself out of the house again, dumbass. That'll be $400.
What about the guys who come unlock your car when you used to be able to lock your keys in your car? I did it. They have emergency roadside through Geico. I remember this guy, it said he had a guardian angel on the outside of his car. And after, you try forever with the hangers, it literally took him 10 seconds. He went boop with one of those Slim
I
Jims.
can do even better. My ex was kind of abusing the roadside assistance that we were getting. She was out with her grandmother and they were at the mall or something. Of course, she called me first and I told her, I'm not leaving work, call roadside. The guy gets there from roadside assistance, back door, opens it right up. She wasn't even locked out. She hadn't tried all 4 doors. Don't get me started. Anyway.
You may not think of this one, as they sort of have a front based on the high school corsages and maybe funeral arrangements or get well bouquets. But what percentage of florist revenue do you think comes from men suspected of cheating?
I'd say half.
And or maybe fucking up, forget to take trash out one too many times. This is how dumb men are. If she's found a pair of underwear that wasn't hers, I'll stop at Harvey's on the way home. There's no problem a few extra hydrangeas won't cure.
I don't think so, dude. I'd say working for the IT help desk sort of falls into this category. You can tell the ones that are like really jaded from having been there too long. They give you the monotone responses. Did you try restarting it? Did you make sure it's plugged in? Did you submit a ticket? They sort of have this sort of glassy-eyed tech monotone zombie thing going on. Oh, talk about the day after the last solar eclipse.
Oh, God.
Those crazy people calling the ophthalmologist.
Yeah, it's weird, but once the media puts something out there, like, that you might damage your vision during a solar eclipse, it gets stuck in some people's head. And despite the fact, a lot of people handed out viewers or made their own, it sticks in their head, maybe for a millisecond that viewer slipped and you were staring directly at the eclipse. And then they would call our office, at least 15 people, demanding to be seen because they thought they had blinded themselves.
Burn their eyes out.
And it was days later or the day after, or even like the end of that week. And they were calling saying, I woke up from a nap and for a few minutes, my left eye, it was really blurry and then it got better. But I think I damaged my eye by looking at the eclipse.
Okay, want to talk about our feature interview?
Our feature interview this week is with the UK punk duo, the Sewer Cats.
UK, see?
We have a great discussion with Cass and Josh about the making of their latest album, Obnoxious, as well as the best ways to consume kale, surviving election paranoia, and dealing with people that smell.
Oh, there's a triumvirate. Yeah.
So stay tuned for that.
Okay, what song is this? Okay, let's talk about Patreon. The site is patreon.com/Snaggletooth Podcasts. And for $6.66 a month, you get a hot rodded Winnebago clown car full of Mark and Stace.
All kinds of things that we have up there. We have reviews going back quite a ways to some classic albums, to some more current things. We have tips and tricks from me. I ought to do another cooking demonstration soon.
I say let's do a blinded beer taste test to kick off season 4. I think that'd be great. Every time I walk up that aisle, I feel guilty that we haven't. So.
Yeah, so in supporting this program, you help keep us going, as well as we also love to help the underground music scene, going to shows. We hope to attend for the other show, Maryland Death Fest, as well as Maryland Doom Fest again this year. So everything that you patrons help out with helps keep this show going.
And I'm going to upload to Patreon this week an announcement of all the cool new features that are going to be in season 4. So if you want to get a sneak peek of all the new stuff, head on over there, subscribe, and you'll never miss another wacky moment.
Lots of content just for our Patreons.
Yep, exactly. Okay. So this next part is entitled So Many Questions.
So we just finished an election and now the aftermath. I want to say people are going a little, if you were a little crazy, it's coming out big time.
Coming out big.
It's kind of like the pandemic.
Yep.
I think it would be tough enough to promote yourself. T-shirts and buttons that say Mustaine for county council or Sarah Connor for senator. Or, this was an actual slogan back in the day, a vote for Hoover means a chicken in every pot and a car in every garage. Or how about all the way with LBJ?
Okay.
Crazy there, Lyndon B. Pump your jets.
Yeah, I wonder what kind of test marketing they did with that one. So,
what if you don't have a garage or a pot?
That's hard enough, but the really tough sell to me is the people they have to lobby, vote yes on question 5 or whatever. I mean, that's got to be a tough one because people with memories like mine are going to be in the voting booth going, all right, I wanted the horse racing money to go to schools. Was that question 5 or was it 7? I don't have time to read all this legalese and 8 paragraphs. I'm going to be nodding off, for Christ's sake. Question 7 is whether or not the state controller should have his own private chef. What the hell do I care? Wasn't there supposed to be a question about how many chickens you can raise in your backyard? It was based on square footage, wasn't it? They'd be last calling me. Sir, you've been in the booth for over 2 hours.
Everyone else has gone home.
Yep. So you thought of it. Best thing to do is to get some kind of a rhyme in your head. Just say no to question 5. Keep endangered owls alive. I think that's the way you get around it.
Otherwise, people are just, you get lost.
So what were our takeaways from this election? I thought it was quite the interesting strategy. Get 2 people to take rifle shots at you and then go to work at McDonald's. Ding, ding, ding.
Bloody fist up in the air, like the Marines raising the flag triumphantly at Normandy. Involve yourself in as many scandals as possible. This is key. Preferably involving porn stars, and definitely be a felon. I'm down with the downtrodden.
It seems like he did everything that you shouldn't do. What do I know?
I mean, how else do you explain the re-election of Marion Barry after getting busted with a hoe and smoking crack?
First of all, crack is whack. We need to get that established.
I mean, people have to look at him and go, he's one of us, goddammit. You can't make this shit up. I also heard it has a lot to do with people simply recognizing your name on the ballot and grabbing headlines. Even horrible press is only fantastic news.
Wanted. Criminals. Mayor for Baltimore. That's the way it works. That's what we get.
Add to that celebrity status, and you are practically a shoo-in. No matter that you are a womanizer that suggested taming the fairer sex with grabbing her cat, which is just feline abuse if you ask me. I mean, then again, they're eating the pets anyway.
They're eating the cats. They're eating the dogs. This is a very troubling time for our country. That was my favorite part of the entire election. We have absolutely no evidence that any pets have been eaten. They're eating the cats. They're eating the dogs. Anyway, sorry.
You know, I guess we're just back to fistfights at every family barbecue, wedding, and NASCAR event for the next 4 years. God bless America. Personally, I'm thinking of changing my name to Lee Harvey Oswald and then running for president. Because honestly, I think that name recognition alone would be enough that people say, hey, I know that guy. I mean, even millennials might know it from Umbrella Academy.
The millennials will go, is he related to Patton Oswald? He's funny. How about the people that are so fired up about their candidate, they volunteer to hold a sign on the corner during rush hour and just wave to cars? I mean, you have to admire the dedication, standing out there in the rain, grinning like an idiot, cars whizzing by, blowing noxious emissions into your lungs for hours. I can't see myself being motivated to do that, even if it was like the second coming of Elvis. I just couldn't do it. It sort of reminds me of the people that get a job flipping a sign at the street corner. How successful are these signs at getting new business? I mean, like I'm going to be sitting at a red light, driving to work, and I see Curtis dressed up as the Statue of Liberty, flipping a sign, doing tricks, and I say, wait, it is late March. Tax season is right around the corner, and H&R Block has built an impressive reputation.
Plus, look at those flips.
All about the flips.
Yeah, it's something about our ADHD, mentality. I mean, nobody's going to look at a static sign. But here's the real trick behind the sign flippers. If you have a sign on posts, you need to pay some kind of sign permit. If the guy is holding the sign, you don't have to pay it.
Wow.
Yeah. Because it's temporary.
What if it's like a lunchtime thing?
Yeah, I saw a guy flipping a sign about the best club sandwich in town. I was immediately intrigued. JoJo's Deli. I've had some pretty tasty sandwiches. Could they actually beat the Aberdeen Diner? It's all about mustard quality if you ask me. Color me skeptical, but I don't want to be missing out.
The sign flippers serve a purpose. Okay, let's hear some music. This is Sewer Cats with You Cannot Be Serious. All right, let's talk about Hum Nutrition.
Hum Nutrition is a company out of California. They have actual doctors using actual science to give you supplements that actually work. And it makes sense. Their tagline is beauty from the inside out. They have a slew of products. If you're not sure what's for you, go take their quiz and they will recommend products. Got questions? They have doctors that are willing to chat with you online. I will show you some of the things we use every day here at the Marchman household. Lots of good stuff. We love their gummies. Pro AVC gummies. These are apple cider gummies. Help with that metabolism and a healthy gut. Really great at kind of helping your metabolism boost. Of course, 80% not eating the whole pizza. If you want additional metabolism boosters, they have the best of berberine. That sure helps. Skinny Bird kind of helps with those cravings. Not sure how well this helps after wine, but it can help put you over the veritable.
As long as there's no smoky was it smoky onion cheese in the house?
Yeah, smoky onion
There's
cheese.
no way to get past it.
This is another one of our favorite gummies. This is celery juice fiber gummies. Also have kale and things in here. So these are your cleanse. No need to make a smoothie or make kale like we talk about later. Also new is Collagen Love. I started taking these. They discontinued the other collagen. This really helps kind of make your beauty come from the inside out. Also helps a lot with my ligaments. I find my hamstrings hurt far less when I take the collagen. Red Carpet for beautiful hair and skin, and another daily cleanse. Wow, we're going to be cleansed out. To kind of take all those toxins out of your system. Use our link.
I like the pills. They're not listed here, but it's Not Unusual. If you take them, all your farts sound like Tom Jones songs. It really is not unusual.
I think it's called Flatter Me. Yeah. Anyway, use our link. It will save you off your first order with Hum Nutrition delivered directly to your door.
Okay.
Yeah.
Our final collectorbation for season 3. So I decided I'd pick one of my favorite records of all time. I like it so much, I actually have 2 copies. Why? I don't know. Anyway.
What's a different color scheme?
Well, one's Harvest, and I think this one's like from a Dutch label or something. I don't know. But anyway, Maiden, Number of the Beast, 1982. A band that recently announced this tour will be their 50-year anniversary.
Wow.
50. Yep. Anyway.
Despite Paul Di'Anno's well-deserved popularity and scrappy style, the ruthless despotism of the Maiden metal machine proved to be too much for the Chingford crooner. Not to suggest the institution was overly disciplined, but the band had actually developed a dress code by this point. Bomber jackets, stripy shirts. Not to suggest the institution was overly disciplined, but the band had actually developed a dress code by this point. Bomber jackets, stripy shirts, stretched jeans, white high tops. Check the early photos if you don't believe me.
There's a story in Dickinson's book where he talks about right after he joined the band, and he comes in there and he was dressed in his Samson clothes. And Rod Smallwood's like, appalling, here's some money, get some clothes. So yeah, they had a dress code, right? Anyway, it's another record, another lineup change, albeit a central one that would recolor the band's sound for decades. Dickinson is subsequently nipped from Samson and very soon submitted to the well-publicized studio torture by Martin Birch making this record. We all have heard multiple takes, throwing furniture, you know the story. There's an interesting songwriting shift for album number 3, which features contributions from Clive Burr and Adrian Smith, as well as the usual Harris. Songs either barrel along at a feverish pace or they build into mini epics. There's no more jaunty prog like Another Life or trancy psych like Prodigal Son or Strange World. In fact, there's no tracing Maiden's influences at this point. Their sound is carved in the headstone, quickly becoming a blueprint for fledgling metal bands the world over.
Overall, lyrical themes are expanding, albeit mainly through cinema-inspired themes and TV references. The horror themes of the first 2 albums are all but eliminated, but there's still that undercurrent of North End flick knife seediness in Gangland and 22 Acacia Avenue. The latter particularly impressive, the band actually writing a sequel to an earlier song without sounding like they're repeating themselves.
I'm starting to think there's kind of a British theme to this show. I don't know. Anyway, woe to you of Earth and Sea. This is Number of the Beast. Secret sauce lies in the fact that this is the only album to feature the ferocious feral pairing of Bruce Dickinson and Clive Burr. There's something about Bruce's anthemic, throaty style and Clive's busy, Brian Downey-like flash. Martin Birch obviously picked up on it as producer. 3 songs start off with some flashy drums: Run to the Hills, Gangland, and The Prisoner. How the Ruth doth pound with falling rocks. Perhaps the best evidence is the phenomenon lays in the build-up and verses in the aforementioned 22 Acacia Avenue. By the time they get to the bite or excite or make her get down on her knees part, Dickinson and Burr are just flying along. They are in the zone.
At any rate, there's something about the surges of power on this record, particularly the title track, kicking in after that incomparable scream and the apocal buildup of Hallowed Be Thy Name. Perhaps the greatest metal epic ever penned, alongside Priests beyond the realms of death that never seem to get old. It's the very apex of the new wave of British heavy metal sounding its death knell. It still erases the petty tensions of the day. In fact, I submit that the beast is so chock full of metallic daring do, they earn the right to play Run to the Hills until I actually do Run to the Hills.
I've thought about it several times. The unified artwork between the hell-licking cover and the Bigger Than the Devil singles seemed to cement Eddie as the ultimate band mascot at this point, the true face of this world-conquering entity. The band is the full package, their output visually stunning as it was sonically plundering. Ludicrous international touring and recording schedules would ensue as the band conquered the world. Such a shame that old Clive had to go. I never really could find out why he got kicked out of the band. The only thing I could read is Steve said that he didn't like his luggage. That couldn't have been it. But I mean, I got to say, as much as I love Peace of Mind, Power Slave, Somewhere in Time, this is my maiden album. And it's largely just because of Clive Burr. So R.I.P. Clive, you were one of a kind. This is Hallowed Be Thy Name.
When the praise comes to read me the last night, take a look for the bars of the last night, of a wall that has gone very wrong for me. Can it be that there's some sort of error? Wants to stop the surmounting terror? Is it really the end of some crazy dream? Somebody please come and down and screaming. It's not easy to stop from screaming. The words escape me.
All right. Want to introduce the interview?
This is our interview with Sewer Cats. I love this band. If you haven't checked them out yet, definitely do. You know, they put so much into their songs. It's not just punk. There's so many influences, so many turns. They're funny. Their lyrics are clever. I mean, they're the whole package. And yes, my shirt did come, as well as some cool stickers. So
Nice.
yeah.
Okay.
I'll be happily wearing that.
So take it away. Well, thanks for doing this. It's great that we were able to hook up, you know. I've been really loving the record. I love the name of it, Obnoxious. It got me right away, you know. So
yeah, I love your style. I love, I love Sprints, believe me. I love their stuff. But I love the humor and the sarcasm that you guys throw into it. It adds like a whole new level for me, and I just love it.
Yeah, I love the videos. We'll get into all that.
In fact, I think I have a shirt.
Well, how did you guys originally come together as a band? Were you always a duo, or did you have other members at some point, or what?
So our story is that we've known each other since we were kids, and we were in bands together when we were teenagers. And then we had a big gap where we didn't do anything at all. And we always thought, yeah, it would be really, really cool to like do just like a project, just us two. And so, yeah, we kind of started Sewer Cats about 5 years ago, just to kind of scratch that itch, really.
Yeah.
Did you have a worst band you guys were in when you were younger that it was just like not working at all?
We can't tell you the names of it.
Yeah, we were in a couple of bad
Terrible,
bands actually. Yeah, I like. In fact, yeah, like the bands that we were in were pretty awful, weren't they?
Bad,
yeah. Yeah, so like it's nice to kind of have a proper go at it now, actually.
Definitely. It's not good when in middle of practice 3 people are in fisticuffs. You're like, this is not productive.
Right. Right. Exactly.
Although I mean, it worked for Jane's Addiction. It got him all kinds of attention, right?
It did. Yeah, not the good kind though. Yeah.
So have you always been drumming and singing? That always seems like the hardest combination. And you're a triple threat. You write, you drum, you sing.
Yeah. So yeah, like when we were younger, I just played drums. I didn't do any singing. And really I started singing in Sewer Cats just out of necessity because, you know, we needed someone to do the vocals. So yeah, and like once I started, I found that it came like quite naturally. Yeah, I find it I always say, like, you know, people ask me all the time about how can I do it, but I think it looks way harder to play guitar and sing. Like, I feel like that looks way harder to me.
Yeah.
Josh, how long have you been playing guitar, and did you have formal training, or are you kind of self-taught?
I started when I was about 14, I think, so quite a while. But yeah, no formal training. I just like my brother, my older brother, like showed me how to play a bit and sort of learned from that. And he actually probably taught you how to play drums a bit.
Yeah, he was really encouraging, like, for drums as well. Like, he was a drummer too, and so he showed me quite a few things too. And yeah, really, like, Josh's brother has been like really instrumental.
You know, the sort of older brother that feeds you all these records, so
Yeah.
you get into all these cool,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I would never have done at that age.
Yeah.
So
And he's in a band in the DIY scene now as well. So like we tour together and do stuff together. And that's really, yeah, really fulfilling to do that.
So do you remember, Josh, what was like one of the first songs you learned to play all the way through when you were learning guitar?
oh, I don't know. Maybe like TVI by the Stooges.
Okay. Yeah, that's a great one. Yeah.
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 So I don't know. Like I just sort of go dabble in and out. Like I don't really play along. I never used to actually play along to that, to other bands that often. It was more just jamming together with other people. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like from really, really early on, like you know, when I could hardly really play at all, we would like jam together. Like yeah, Josh and his brothers, like he's got two brothers, both of which like play instruments. And yeah, like us kids would like just always play together. And like I think we learned to play off each other like really yeah, like a really early age. And I think that's like sort of set us up well, didn't it, for now?
Yeah, I remember in college one weekend, I holed myself up in my bedroom and I learned the entire Ramones Leave Home album from front to back. It took, like, I came out of the room like emaciated and starving because I hadn't even like eaten anything, but I had accomplished it. You know, it was like one of these senseless goals. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I think mine was Smoke on the Water because it was 3 chords. I was like, all right, I got this.
And this was on the organ, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, her parents wanted her to play the organ. Yeah.
I wanted a guitar. They got me an
Oh.
organ, and I was in 10, right? And it's like in the 80s, you know, insert your organ joke here.
Yeah.
So I was going to play Broken Wings on it. So I'm like,
Mr.
and
Yeah.
trying to do the dun-dun on the pedals, right?
Yeah.
No, it just wasn't going right.
I played the trumpet first, which is a bit weird.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah. Like my parents wanted me to play like classical stuff. So
You could have gone in a whole ska direction, you know.
yeah, no.
If only you liked Sky.
If only I liked ska, then that'd be
Yeah. I'm not a fan either. No. So who came up with the name of the band? It's such a great name.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, so it's just like something like we had the name first actually before we'd even tried writing a song. So like when we go on holiday, we always kind of seek out these stray cats wherever we go.
Okay.
And like we used to call them the sewer cats. So we'd be like, oh, where are
Okay.
the sewer cats? And then we were like, that would be a good name. So yeah, we called ourselves that.
Yeah.
You must have cats yourself.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
How many do you have?
So yeah, we currently have one cat. She's asleep upstairs. And yeah, she was the face of our previous album. So our first album was her face on the cover. The obnoxious cat is actually Josh's brother's cat called Lucille. And yeah, he has 2 cats, Marvin and Lucille, and that's Lucille on the cover.
Yeah, we've decided if podcasting doesn't work out and we have to form a band, we're going to call our band Skank Fragment. That's our
Very
moniker. Yeah. It's kind of like yours where you know it's obnoxious, but you don't know what kind of music it's going to be. That's the goal.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Exactly. And do you two have cats too?
Oh yeah, we got 3.
Oh,
We
yeah.
had 4, but one, our calico passed away last year. Yeah.
She was 14.
I'm
She was getting low up there.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've got our Russian Blue as our most obnoxious. He's just We were looking at houses and we had all, the printouts, and he just started to throw up on all of it. I'm like,
He didn't like any of them, apparently.
okay.
He
Oh.
was like, 4 bedrooms. Yeah, that'll never do, So, I don't know. He's very pukey. Russians are very, very pukey cats. So,
Oh. I didn't know that
No, I
about
didn't know.
them.
Oh, yeah. At least ours is,
No, the rest of ours are just, domestic alley cats, and that, but they don't like outside. I don't know if you don't like outside.
Yeah, his name's Vladimir, and we'll just hear him puking in somewhere in the house, and then we get to play the fun game of find the cat puke. So fun, Well, it's somewhere, oh God. Boy.
So you had some obnoxious pet photo. You were like, I love how you were like, when did it peed outside the box? Who was the winner of that, and what the photo looked like?
Oh, who won?
I can't remember the name. We had quite a lot of entries, didn't we?
Yeah, we had a lot of entries, and we did pick the winner at random. So like, it wasn't necessarily the most obnoxious.
Some great ones, weren't there?
But I think the cat that won was kind of pulling like a sort of like cheeky face, kind of going like, wasn't it? Tongue out. So yeah. But yeah, it was really fun, like actually to see people's photos, and yeah, nice competition.
What do you two independently find the most obnoxious thing that happens on a daily basis?
Wow.
You're quite obnoxious, aren't you?
Some people do say
Yeah.
that. I think like something that Josh always says is obnoxious about me is that I have like a very loud speaking voice.
Okay.
So like when I'm around the house, I'm just like, no, 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 no. And you're quite often like, shush, like, like the neighbors can hear you talking, like, because when I get into a story, like I talk very, very loud and very enthusiastically. But like my loud voice is why we've got the sewer cat.
Exactly. So
yeah, so I feel like that's an obnoxious habit of mine. But yeah, like I think like the cat is also very obnoxious.
yeah.
She's very sort of like, when she wants attention, she will just start eating something that she's not supposed to eat, so that you'll just go, stop it, and give her attention. So yeah.
Random bouts of rage. Attacking,
she also
biting.
attacks people all the time.
So
I had a hard time thinking of what Stace does that's the most obnoxious, and I finally did. When she vacuums, she almost kills me with the cord every time. 'Cause she'll
Right.
pull it tight like a tripwire over the stairs, and I've almost gone ass over teacups a few times. So that's the only thing I can think of is she's trying to kill me with the vacuum.
I try to get as far as I can without having to replug it in, right? So I'm like,
I have
rooms over.
I've gone as far as like I grabbed the railing, like I was like literally like I was heading down, So if you ever hear that I've been severely injured in a fall, that's probably why.
Yeah, have you got life insurance?
Oh my God.
We do. I'm covered. At least I have that. If I'm in a body cast, So, yeah.
Me, I'm always tripping over the dog because we have this little dog too. And
Yeah, he's a Yorkie.
when I'm cooking, he's like he's on patrol. Like I might drop something and I forget and I go to turn, and next thing you know, you're
Yeah,
like,
we both are always tripping on him. Yeah. He's a scrounger. Yeah.
So I really love your blend. You have some grunge in there. You even had that one country post rock.
Oh, I love that one.
How,
Yeah.
how do you decide? Is it kind of the song's mood and what kind of other things you're going to throw in, or how does that work?
I think like we just like to mix things
yeah,
up.
I
don't
think like we
we?
have the attitude of like anything goes.
Mm.
Anything you want in punk. It doesn't have to be, 3 chords, or it can be, it can be anything.
Yeah. So just see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think for that
Great.
one, the country one, I think did I just start playing the riff or something?
I think we started with the lyrics with that one, and then it just really fit, didn't it? And it's often like, to do with what we've been listening to at that time, that like, influences seep in, don't they? And then you think, oh, let's give this a go. So I think that's the beauty of just being a two as well, that you can like kind of
Yeah.
Yeah, if it's like a dark song, like the cast often comes up with the lyrics first. If it's like dark, then I'll be like, right, like some, I'll play some dark music to go along with it, if in a way,
Yeah, just see what fits.
Yeah, if you're really pissed off, it might be like a hardcore sort of track, So yeah, just anything really.
And I love how you'll go in and out of moods. Like it'll be real raucous, and then it's kind of dreamy and quiet, and then back. It makes a really good, interesting transition. Because at first I was like, "Am I on a different song?" And I'm like, "Oh no."
Yeah.
Yeah, we really like to do that. Yeah.
So it looks like Cute Aggression was recorded around the time of the pandemic. Was the process kind of the same or different when you did Obnoxious?
It was a little bit different. I think by its nature, like Cute Aggression was quite like a pandemic influenced record. And
wasn't it?
yeah, quite introspective. And like we had the time at home to kind of write it in one chunk. So yeah, and like we very consciously, I think once we realized, we're going to be stuck in for a while, we were like, let's do an album. And we very like kind of consciously worked on it, and it actually really like gave us something to focus on, didn't it? Whereas Obnoxious has been more time in the making because we've been gigging as we've been writing. So I think the entire kind of writing process took a lot longer, maybe over kind of 18 months rather than just a few months to do Cute Aggression, really.
Yeah, there's this horrible Steel Panther-ish metal song called Cute Aggression. It's the worst thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
You know it. Okay. Yeah.
I was running one day and that Spotify picked that. I'm like, oh, no.
I do think we get a few more streams because of people looking for that song, though. So I can't complain.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always good to have a little. We were talking about that, the typo thing. Like we were like, we should have called this show the Taylor
what
Twit
band?
Show.
That's right, because there's a band that we reviewed called ADD/C, ADDC. And I thought they're going after the typo market. That's what they're doing. They're going to get all kinds of drunk AC/DC fans by mistake. So, yeah. So, I want to ask you about the gigs. Are they like house parties, or like how have the gigs been? Have been pretty good attendance, pretty good tour? Yeah.
It just like varies, doesn't it? But I think this tour has been really, really good. So like we had our like home show to like release the record, and that was that was sold out, so that was really cool.
Great.
And then like we've been around various like venues across the country.
A lot of breweries.
A lot of breweries.
Okay, can't beat that.
That's like a thing.
Yeah.
And like it's been mostly busy. You have one or two where it's like just a man and a dog, occasionally, but that's part of the fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it's been really good, this tour. And then we're planning to go to Europe in March. And we have played there once before, like we've been on a tour to tour Cute Aggression, and we're gonna hit some of the spots that we went to before. I just feel like in the UK, we don't turn out as well as the Europeans. The Europeans like go hard, especially the Germans.
On a Monday, go for it.
They're just like there.
Yeah, we've heard that.
Yeah. It's cool.
When the gigs are sparse, though, you can call people out. You can be like, "You leather jacket in the back there, get off your phone. We're fucking playing music here." Like that would be great. Like the D. Snyder thing. You can call people out. You get them, you too. Something
always
like that.
Make sure that like even if there aren't many people there, we will like still do the show like 100%, because I always like take the view that like the people that are there aren't to blame for the people that aren't there.
Right.
So like, I kind of think, well, they deserve like the full show, so they're gonna get the full show. And like also, like we always just think, well, it's just like it's me and you, we're gonna do it. So like it doesn't matter who's there, really.
I don't even know if there's anyone there or not. Like I'm just completely lost in it. I have a good time regardless. So
I remember sometime in the early 2000s, I went and saw Zeke, and it was like on a Tuesday night, and they were so good, and there was like 12 people there, and I was like so embarrassed for Baltimore. I was just like, this band is amazing. And I actually said to the singer, I said, "I'm sorry, you should have more people here." And he goes, "Do you have any drugs?" And I was like, good answer, though.
They're in Manchester this week.
Oh, are they? Okay, great.
Yeah,
Great.
yeah, later this
Yeah.
week. Yeah.
Yeah, I love your stage presence, Josh. I love like the dances you go into, and it's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you're so, I could see you're just like so into it. I could see where you're in your own zone.
Yeah.
Did you kind of come up with that whole kind of thing yourself, or does it kind of help you when you're playing to just kind of zone?
Yeah, I mean, like a part of it was I think like two pieces have a bit of a problem because it can be a bit static. Cass is like the front person stuck on the drums, and so it was like I know I should probably get get into it a bit more. But it's like I just feel like once I get going on stage, I just have so much energy, I just can't stop myself. So
You're in the zone. Yeah.
yeah,
And
yeah,
it's
and I just
cool.
I
It makes such a great presence.
whether there's one person or like 100 people or whatever, like I'm exactly the same.
Yeah, and like
regardless.
often Josh doesn't like notice what's going on in the crowd.
No,
I
I don't
have
even know if they
I
liked
have to
it.
tell him like, oh yeah, this happened. And he's like, really?
Yes, so just anything goes for that. Like
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm gonna do each gig, but just whatever I feel like at the time.
You're
So.
like Josh, even the bartenders left.
Yeah.
Uh,
So I love how your brand is like, I was reading some review where somebody called you political. I'm like, they're not political, really. You're more like the human condition, or well, maybe a little social commentary. What do you think is the most political song you have?
Probably a really specific one to like a very specific like kind of UK thing was one that we released on Q Aggression, which was called Shit in Your Hands and Clap. And it was about seeing like Tory politicians go outside during the pandemic on a Thursday night at 8 o'clock when we had this thing called Clap for Carers. And like basically the idea was that you would go out onto your doorstep and like clap and stuff to like thank like nurses and doctors and carers like for their service during the pandemic, which like is a lovely idea, but it's very empty, if your policies are not actually helping at all,
right.
if you've defunded the National Health Service and all of those things. So I think that was like our most pointed political song.
Yeah.
But I think like what you say is interesting, that like it's like social commentary, I think, is mostly what we're kind of delivering. But everything is political in my opinion. Personal things are very political. And so yeah, I would consider us like a political band, broadly speaking. Yeah.
Who's the one? Who's the one that does the? I think Josh is about to get shot. What's the name of that?
Oh, the pink one.
Yeah. What's the name
I'll
of it?
think of it in a minute.
She's a Kerrang darling too.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Your music reminds us of it.
Queen.
Screen Queen. Your music reminds us of Screen Queen a little bit.
Okay.
Same type of skewering social commentary.
Like
with
that.
with a lot of humor. With a lot of humor. Yeah.
And we just
Yeah.
need a pink outfit.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
So just a few track questions. I love You Cannot Be Serious. I love the rant.
Oh, yeah.
Was it kind of directed to one person, or kind of like just society as a whole?
It's a very specific situation. Probably shouldn't go into more detail than that. But yeah, it was a very specific person or thing. And like, but like an allowing of myself really to kind of use that situation as a starting point, and then to kind of push it further and see where it went, and to sort of explore the kind of like I sort of always describe it as like the Moorishness of kind of dwelling on those things, and sort of how it can feel quite delicious, I suppose, to kind of dwell with your vengeful thoughts.
Well, we said revenge is a dish best served cold, but I can never
Yeah.
wait till it cools off.
Yeah.
Also, I love Get It. Oh my God, that is so great. I love the idea of like, because we were just talking today about how out of control gender reveals have gotten, I had all my kids in the
Hate
90s.
gender reveals.
I thought,
They are
I
the
know.
worst.
It's so obnoxious. Oh my God.
Oh, they really are. Like, yeah. I just think, what a thing that we've invented. Like, what is
Exactly.
this? Yeah.
you know what the worst one I found is the people do a gender reveal and then the color's green because the reveal is they're not going to reveal. I'm like,
That
okay.
makes no
Yeah.
sense at all.
Okay. That is an anticlimax, isn't it?
Yeah.
For everyone,
Just
really.
wasted everybody's time, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Glad we got everyone gathered. We're not telling you.
Oh, that's obnoxious.
Yeah, that's obnoxious.
That's obnoxious.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
But I love how, kind of like the whole video is a play on like, your social media presence. That was awesome. So in which ways do you disagree or agree with some lectures that you've gotten from people in the past?
Oh, what do you mean by that? Like,
Well, I noticed about you should get a proper job. I mean, we hear that quite frequently.
okay, so yeah, so like Get It, I think again, like Get It is like quite a specific like cultural reference, like that I think it may have been like UK specific actually. So like a lot of some of the song is a quote from like a kind of influencer that we have in the UK called Molly May, who was on a program called Love Island, which I don't know if you've heard of Love Island, but yeah, but like since Love Island, she's kind of become like a sort of fashion influencer. She has like a clothing line that is quite well known to be made by like kind of forced labor. So like the people that are making this clothing line are very, very underpaid, and like a lot of dodgy practices going on in the factory and stuff like that. And she basically said, well, everyone can be as successful as me. Like we all have the same 24 hours in the day. You could be as good as me if you just worked a bit harder.
Oh
So
my.
that was her kind of shtick, basically.
Yeah.
So I kind of took, and understandably, there was quite a big backlash against this, and she was quite, she was criticized for it. And like, so yeah, the song was inspired by that, and also some comments from our very short-lived Prime Minister Liz Truss, who only lasted what couple of weeks or whatever, who was very like, had a lot of rhetoric about, you need to just work harder, you need to get proper jobs, and then you can pay your heating bills. Like, it's just, the reason why you can't pay for your heating is because you're not working hard enough, and you need to grow the economy, and then everything will be fine, she said, whilst simultaneously crashing the market. So yeah, so that song kind of takes some quite specific references, I guess, and then kind of recycles them. And also I think passes comment on something that I suppose in like my work life, I'm sort of around a lot of kind of aspirational content from like other women, and it's very sort of driven towards young women about kind of manifesting what you want from the world and it will be given to you. So it's kind of like a sort of take on that culture, which I find pretty toxic, I guess.
Yeah. It's funny, your stories about what inspired that song reminds me. There was no internet, but remember when Mariah Carey said she feels so bad for the starving children in Ethiopia, but of course it would be great to be skinny like that, but not with all the flies and death and stuff. Do you remember when she said that? That was like
I don't remember that,
1993.
but that is
like 93 or
something
something
else, isn't it?
Can you imagine? I mean, her handlers were probably like, shut up,
Yeah.
Mariah, gosh.
Mariah, yeah.
I loved the video for that one too. Were you able to do the knocking the frappe out of your hand in like one take?
I was terrified. I was absolutely terrified. And then I knocked it on Cass, and then she just did this horrible like scream, and I just thought like I'd really upset her, but of course she was just
It's
acting.
called acting,
But
Josh.
I just like I kept up to her, like, oh no, you okay?
Yeah,
horrible.
you can see his face kind of go like
Oh,
in the
no.
video, like where he's like, oh no,
Yeah.
she's gonna be
He's
pissed.
concerned.
He's
Yeah.
gonna be annoyed about
Yeah.
this. But no,
You had
it's
to like cut it.
and it's because I'm a professional, Josh.
Just
Yeah, those are the moments in videos that you really gotta own it, Yeah.
Yeah, I loved you yakking into the thing when after you did your kale.
Oh, the
drink, you were like,
kale drink.
Oh yeah, our nephew who's 5, he loves that bit. He loves anything to do with being sick.
Yeah.
So he's like, "Can I watch Auntie Cass being sick in the bit?"
Oh, that's great. Oh.
Also, love Boohoo. That was another good one. Did you kind of like do the Kleenex spontaneously, or was that planned? I love that part.
Yeah, just like I think that one was quite. Yeah, we just sort of went to shoot it and did it really, really quick. Actually, we just kind of wanted to make it colorful and fun and just, a little bit snarky and stuff. So yeah, like the Kleenex one, we were just like, yeah, let's have a go at that. Yeah.
I love it. That song would be the anthem for Karens everywhere.
Yeah.
It's like, I can think of so many of them. I work with the public and I work in a doctor's office, and on a daily
wow.
basis, I'm like,
Yeah. The stories are
and
there's so many.
people on a daily basis. This is what I do with my
Yeah.
life. Completely.
Crazy. I know.
So, I really love the term big pussy energy, considering, the whole Trump thing over here. I don't even want to talk about it. We're having an election this week. I actually had a patient say to me, oh, because they have to come back this week, and they're like, oh, November 5th. I don't know if I'll be around. And I'm like, why are you having a procedure? She's like, no, that's election day. I don't know what mood I'll be in. I'm like, okay.
Oh God.
Hey,
Yeah.
and how are you two feeling about that?
I just don't like either one of them.
Well, we don't like either one of them, but I mean, I went back about a month ago and I watched like the old debates, like Mondale versus Reagan or whatever, like and they were it just struck me they were so civilized and they let each other finish and they didn't talk over each other and it was all about the issues. I mean, Trump ruined all that. Now it's like Jerry Springer,
God, it's like
Yeah.
it's so ridiculous, and everybody's constantly throwing mud. It's like I thought this was about making a better country, not who could zing the most stuff at the other
I was really
person.
disappointed when I found out he was actually going to run again because in the US, the effect has been people fist fighting at family barbecues is what it's been.
NASCAR events.
It's
yada,
ridiculous.
Yada.
I mean, it's like, and the thing is, it never changed anything that trickled down to our level. Like we had him, we had Biden. Nothing changed for us. I mean, it was just, they're just fighting about nothing, It's ridiculous.
No,
It used to be you didn't bring up politics or religion, but now it has to be like your bumper sticker. Like you have to put it out there right away. I hate it,
I hate people who make political posts. I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
It's just inviting Karens and everything else in. So, I'll probably do some throwaway protest vote. It's sad, but I can't.
We're not very political people, so,
It's tough.
yeah.
But anyway,
I'm sure it was the same with you guys in Brexit and all that. I'm sure you felt the same way. There's fist fights in the backyard over that, I'm sure, right?
Yeah, I think like, in the UK, like there's been a lot of divisive, issues in the last few years. And I hope we're going into like, a little bit more of a period where people can talk about things in a bit more constructive way, perhaps. But yeah, like it's certainly been like, you've seen families like divided and communities divided because of very kind of charismatic people telling them a load of lies, really. So yeah, it's really worrying to see that. And we've definitely seen a rise in fascism in this country and in Europe. And yeah, it's really, really worrying. So yeah, I think we've got to be kind of alert to that, and yeah, try and show compassion and empathy to each other as much as possible. But yeah, also like try and try and do the right thing by these things, I suppose. And yeah, we'll see. We have had a change of government, but we haven't seen a change in sort of important things as yet, have we? So yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, we had the folks from Lesbian Bed Death on the show, and he was telling us some really interesting stuff about how Brexit, how ridiculous it has affected things like the price of shipping, and moving shipping merch and moving, going from gig to gig and traveling across Europe because you're not part of the EU anymore, and how it affects the band. And it's really interesting because I hadn't thought about that, but when you hear it from that standpoint, you're like, God, what a stupid move that was,
Yeah,
now,
it's just a really nonsensical, stupid thing that the country did to themselves, basically.
right.
Based on like very kind of negative sentiment towards like minority groups, really is what it was all about. And it's really disgusting, actually, that we've kind of shot ourselves in the foot in so many ways by the fact that, some very charismatic people, as I mentioned, sort of made a kind of convincing argument based on hate towards, immigrants. And yeah, it's really, unbelievable in some ways that ever happened, but it did.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I think we need some more big pussy energy, personally.
Yes.
We'll pick it.
I
Yeah.
loved a little cat paw. That was great. Also, another favorite was Tell Me Something True.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It almost seemed like it was inspired by a vacation or a night out, that whole video.
So we actually filmed that video like in the pub that we live behind. So yeah, we live behind the pub, and like we went in there to film it, and the locals absolutely loved it.
Oh, there's one on the start, isn't there?
Yeah.
At the start of the video.
Yeah, they just couldn't get enough of like coming over to ask us what we were doing. But yeah, the guy that runs the pub is really, really kind and let us like go in the pub to film it. And yeah, it was fun to do, wasn't it? Yeah.
I like the acoustic guitar part. I thought that was that was a good idea. It really fits into the song really well.
And it just
breaks
it out.
It breaks it out. Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, no, it's really fun to do, and it's like fun as a song to play, and it is really like of two halves, that song. And when we play it live, we actually kind of bring back the fast part at the end and give people one last chance to dance, and like people kind of swing their partner and all of that sort of stuff, which is really fun.
Oh, so the horns at the end, very black metal, by the way.
Yeah.
Where did that come from? And it was during that kind of that trippy part.
Yeah, I think we'd been watching a TV show actually that had like a TV show that had like this kind of character that had like a kind of skull face and would come and talk to the main character in this TV show and would sort of, tell him things in a dream. And so I just associated that with a kind of dream-like state, I guess. So yeah, a little
Very
prop
cool.
to kind of just throw in something a little bit uncanny, I guess.
Yeah. I liked it. Yeah. Let's play our game. Yeah.
All right. Have you gotten to our game?
No, I don't know about the game.
All right. So I have 100 questions in front of me. So usually if it's one person, I'll have one person pick 5, but there's 2 of you. So I want you each to pick 3 numbers that will respond to 3 questions you will answer.
So 3 numbers between 1 and 100.
Okay. 3 each.
Yeah.
Yep.
3 each. Okay.
Any number.
I'll go for 15, 40, and 71.
Okay. 10, 20, and 100.
30.
100. 100.
On the other show, the bands always fight over. I wanted 66. I wanted 77.
Oh,
I
okay.
wanted
Yeah, I didn't even
13.
think of that.
Like, they want the evil numbers, you know.
Right.
So we have to keep changing them.
Yeah, I have to keep changing the
Yeah.
question. 'cause
Anyway.
otherwise it gets, we always answer the same ones. All right, Cash, you go first. Did you ever binge on a streaming show, and which one was it?
Oh, this is terrible. Gossip Girl.
Oh, okay.
I can love Gossip Girl. It's just like, and now it's so like you realize when you watch it back, it's so problematic. But yeah, I loved that at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a guilty
That's-
kind of pleasure.
You're like, I'll just watch one, and then next, and you've been watching TV for 3 hours, you know. Yeah.
Just so addictive.
It's funny, I'll put on whenever I'm putting together furniture or something, like I'll put ID channel on, and it's all
True crime.
true crime stuff. And if Stace has been gone for a while and it's dark, I'll start to get kind of creeped out. I'll start to be like, was that
Yeah.
the cat? Was that is somebody here? You know, like, so I have to stop after a while. I
Gotta
put
be
something a little
careful.
perkier on. Yeah.
Yeah, he'll flip us both out, like, because I'll forget he's down here and I'll come down to do laundry. I'm like, ah.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is-
Yeah,
Well, you know,
that's a jump scare waiting to happen, isn't
exactly.
it?
Jump scare waiting to happen. Yeah.
All right, Cash, you pick number 40. Have you ever done volunteer work?
Yeah. Yeah, during the pandemic I was a volunteer actually because so I'm a wedding photographer like for my job.
Okay.
And so I couldn't work during the pandemic because there was like nothing on. So yeah, I was a volunteer at like a food bank sort of thing when it was a pandemic. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, a little bit of everything. I was sort of volunteering. I worked for a restaurant, and when we started, they let us do carry out only. They said, you can come back and run carry out the cars, but we can't pay you.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
So we all just split tips every night, you know. It
Yeah,
was
did you get
something to
tips?
do.
Yeah.
It was something to
Wow,
do.
okay.
My mother made a big deal that she was going to volunteer and feed the homeless for Thanksgiving one year. She didn't last 2 hours. She couldn't get along with anybody else there.
Oh no.
They kicked her out. That sounds about right. Yeah.
Caspic 71. What's your hometown famous for?
Oh, a really terrible thing, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it's famous for like no, it's famous for three things. So one is like a terrible murderer that like had like yeah, was like a really bad like murderer. And then two for it has like a cathedral that was used in a location for Harry Potter.
Oh,
And three, it's home to the cheese rolling. So yeah, are you familiar with the cheese
oh,
roll?
no. Yeah.
No, okay. Well, you must look it up after this. So yeah, like my hometown is Gloucester. That's where we grew up. And basically they get a double Gloucester cheese and they throw it down this really, really tall hill, and then everyone goes like running after the cheese.
Oh, I did see that. Remember
Yeah, it's very famous.
it was like all weird sporting events, and that came up. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's like the nice thing it's famous for.
Cheese chasing.
It said something. Dr. Foster. That's why we
Dr.
like
Foster. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
rain.
Yeah.
We interviewed this Australian band last week, and we asked the same question, and he goes, "Bon Scott's buried here," and I'm like, knocked it right out of the park on that
Yeah.
one. You know?
Yeah.
You're not going to top that, you know. So yeah.
All right, Josh is up. I apologize for this first question, although it applies to my job almost every day. Have you ever had to tell someone that they smell?
No.
No, never done that.
There's quite a few people that, you know, some people I've worked with that have been quite smelly,
Mhm.
but like I'm just too polite, so I just keep it to myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let them stink out the place. Yeah, I don't think I've told anyone that they
I
smell.
don't even think I have either. I wouldn't
No.
have
No, I haven't either. No.
Maybe it's like a
Yeah.
British thing as well that we did, like such things.
Mm.
Yeah.
We get all kinds of patients, and you get the kind that smell like they've been bathing in cannabis, that we actually have to spray down the exam room, or they smell like cigarettes, or worse, they've had an accident and they're just gonna go with it.
Yeah, nice.
Oh,
Because they're from a
Oh.
nursing home or something like that.
And I'm just always like,
Yeah.
oh my God, we're just gonna hose down the exam room, or whatever.
Yeah, I didn't understand when they started legalizing pot. I didn't understand what I was smelling, like walking around. I thought everybody was boiling cabbage. It's just like, why is everybody eating cabbage?
Smells
Duh,
like cabbage.
you know.
It's so crazy we have like a main road, runs through town, and we jog a lot. And because of all the dispensaries, you just run through clouds of pot.
People love to sit in their car and just, it's
Right.
it's crazy. Yeah.
Hi, by the time I'm done. Great. Getting back to Josh, number 20. What are your opinions of kale?
Of kale,
Kale.
the food.
Yep.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, we eat it quite a bit, don't we?
Really?
Yeah, get it in the veg box. don't we?
Yeah, sort of like whack it in a stir fry. Not really a big fan of the people that like eat it in like smoothies.
Raw,
you know.
yeah.
That
That's
sounds,
yeah.
yeah,
It's a
But, like-
superfood.
yeah.
I think
no.
the best thing to do with it actually is treat it like crispy fried seaweed. So like loads of salt, some 5-spice on it, roast it in the oven. It's
That
delicious.
sounds pretty good.
The only way I got him to eat it is I hid it in mashed potatoes.
Mhm.
That works.
Then he ate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, and you went with 100. Who was the worst teacher you ever had, and why?
I'm allowed to name names. Like they're probably
Yeah,
not going to
I
watch.
don't
are they?
think-
No, you don't name names, but just
Yeah, I had quite a few bad ones.
You had some terrible teachers actually.
They were like, there's a few sadistic ones at
Mm.
my school that, they sort of wished that they could still beat the shit out of the kids, but they weren't allowed anymore. But they would get you with mental
Mental
abuse. Yeah, there was a few actually. They're all quite equally as bad as each other.
yeah.
I can't really.
Yeah, I went to Catholic school. I had nuns. The nuns didn't like, I would just be walking by in the hall, and they knew they could hurt you without making a mark. They'd grab my sideburn and go, "Mr. Marchman, are we behaving today?
My
Ow,
God.
ow, 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 ow." Yeah.
Wow.
Uh,
Just don't leave a mark.
yeah, they weren't that bad.
Pretty
were they?
sadistic. Yeah.
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 Yeah, we both had the same teacher in high school, and he was a gym teacher for a while, and he turned into a math teacher. And he would be doing algebra, and then he'd be like, wait, that's not right. And we'd all have to help him, through the.
He'd get stuck.
So, how did you kind of come to collaborate with Slab for your little bonus track?
So yeah, Slab are just are another band like that are kind of on the scene in Manchester, and got to know them, didn't we?
Yeah, we saw them at a local gig.
Yeah.
But like, I guess the side to that is like, well, we're both kind of really into post rock as well. So like, obviously, none of our stuff doesn't really come out like that. There's a bit of post rock influence on some of the tracks. And like when we first started Sewer Cats, we thought actually we might be a post rock band because like Cass hadn't done vocals and just see what happens. But as it turned out, we just accidentally turned into a punk band. So yeah, I guess like I just like that type of music, so we just thought it'd be interesting to do stuff with them.
What are some of your favorite post rock, bands or albums?
Well, Mogwai, obviously,
Yeah.
and Godspeed are probably my two favorites.
Okay, cool.
So you've been playing out a lot. Did you have recently around? Did you have any best and worst memories from your recent stint of all September and October?
Yeah, I mean, I think the Manchester show was hard to beat, wasn't it? Really,
Yeah, that was amazing.
The venue, like people were kind of crowd surfing and sort of doing pyramids and stuff, and in the venue they very famously have like this kind of like piece of the ceiling that keeps on falling down. So at one point there was like, someone going into the mosh pit with tape and some scissors so that they could fix this up the
It's a
ceiling.
stupid part.
And you just think, what could go wrong? You go to the wash pit with like some
You were
scissors.
bringing the house down.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah.
You were bringing the house down.
Silly part of the venue because like an energetic gig, it always breaks because people are crowd surfing, they grab onto it and they pull it
Yeah,
off like, every
it
time.
breaks every time. Yeah. So that's like a quite memorable one from Manchester. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you have this in Europe, but in the States, when we go to festivals, the kids now, when they're crowd surfing, they're also filming it. You have that? Have you seen that?
Not seen that,
No,
no.
not too
Yeah,
bad.
as they're crowd surfing, this is because it's all about the Instagram feed.
Of course.
So
Yeah.
I can't imagine that. I mean, when I crowd surfed in the 90s, I came home with bruises all over my ass.
Yeah.
That's I just wanted to survive and not have any broken ribs.
This was at Maryland Death Fest.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a sea of people, and I'm like,
They all have their phones going in.
Oh, yeah, no, I've not seen that yet, but I'm sure I will.
Well, you guys are more mature than we are over here in the States. Yeah. A little more real than we are. That's got to be amazing to play in Manchester with all the history of the Cult and Stone Roses and Siouxsie and all. It's so great. You have such a great heritage, So
Yeah, we really
Yeah.
do. And yeah, it's just brilliant. Yeah.
we never have like it's like over here if it's like built in the 1800s, we're like, wow, that's old.
Yeah, we think things are old if they're from the 70s,
Whereabouts are you two?
We're in Baltimore, Maryland.
Okay, cool.
We're
Yeah.
about the middle of the East Coast, kind of, south of New York, south of Philly, north of Richmond, and
Yeah.
DC. DC's below us.
Have you guys been out to the States, or are you planning on it, or?
We've been to New York, and you've been to Colorado, haven't you?
Yeah, but not with music.
But not for music.
Not for music. Okay.
Just for
things.
laughs.
Yeah.
Well, this was great.
Yeah, well, we hope to get you over here someday. Sprints was here not too long ago, so we have a couple little venues around here, although maybe you could, and then bigger sites. I love the smaller shows. We saw Green Lung. They came over and we were
that was
sold
great.
out at the Metro. It was
Green Lung was
awesome.
great. Yeah.
So we hope to get you guys over here. I'll wear my shirt when it comes.
Oh yeah, it's on its way to you. So
Okay.
yeah.
Falling on deaf ears.
Okay, Deaf Ears 1 is the new album from the Virgin Marys, The House Beyond the Fires. They're English. It's too bad all the really great riffs, all the really great songs have already been used. Plus, everybody knows rock and roll is a rotting corpse, and even all the cool band names have been taken, or haven't you heard? Out to dispel not one but all of these ridiculous notions is the gloriously monikered duo, the Virgin Marys, from a place in central Britain called Macclesfield, which was apparently the only UK town that wasn't bombed out in World War II. But this album, the band's sixth since their 2006 formation, is an incendiary device all its own.
The audacity of it all. Sexy, danceable, absurdly British hard rock, reminiscent of classic Billy Idol, but swirled with the youthful sneer of Dead Poet Society or Red Light King. This is one of those albums that feels like it's a greatest hits compilation, but they're all new songs. The duo of Ali Dickety on vocals and guitar and Danny Dolan on drums.
Don't you know?
Shows a happy talent for deliciously irreverent lyrics, groovy yet jaunty rhythms, and huge stadium-ready choruses. They talk about tea and toast and chips with beans. They don't say apartment, they say flat. And they're way better than your band. Deal with it.
So many great songs with catch-fire climaxes on this slabberoo. Hyperactive hip shakers like Dance to the City and Northwest Coast both stomp along with seasoned rock acumen a la Danko Jones, the former bolstered by expertly placed woes and the latter with expertly placed guitar fills, and the chorus of UK Northwest One Love. It's because they're English, see? Yeah.
The razor that is Lies, Lies, Lies should be called Cowbell, 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 because that's what takes center stage about halfway through the track. While Decady babbles about avalanches, fucking liars, and commercial flights to space. Whip smart, hip swiveling, hard rock, done just about perfectly. Damn, how will we Yanks ever compete with stuff like this? Somebody book the Hollywood Bowl for these guys and make sure there's some fish and chips backstage.
Good on you, Governor. This is There Ain't No Future. Okay, Deafers 2.
This is Lowen. Do not go to war with the demons of Mazandaran. Middle Eastern and Asian styles certainly have found their way into modern music. In pop mainstream like Moulin Rouge or Shakira, it seems, well, kind of show-tuney and watered down. Earlier this year, when I heard High on Fire's Turkish-inspired instrumental, Karnalak Yol, from their album Cometh the Storm, it struck me that doom styling is a more authentic pairing for these ancient musical styles. So it made sense, giving Persia's storied history of innovative, colorful architecture, impressive gardens, and intricate inlaid metalwork. Fusing these influences to heavier music is the way to go.
Not to mention their carpeting.
Carpets are killer.
That rich culture needs a big, revenant feel, not just a poppy hook. The heavy rampart of doom, the many striated layers, even the trippiness just fits the whole feel of the Persian Empire. Lowen has combined these styles with crushingly heavy bolt thrower-esque metal and fused it with these ancient tales from Shahnameh or Book of Kings for their second full length. Written around the year 1000 BC by the famous Persian poet Abul Qasim Ferdowsi, it is kind of like the Canterbury Tales of Persia.
The story that inspired the album is about a pride cometh before a fall kind of tale of a chieftain, Dive Septid, whose advisors were so adamant about this warning. Do not go to war with the demons of Mazandaran. They didn't even use a contraction.
They did the whole do not, man.
Waging the deeply discouraged war anyway, and all kinds of not good things happening, of course, like having his armies destroyed, being blinded, and subsequently thrown into a dungeon. All this represented here in these 6 new tracks, most in the 5 to 6 minute range.
Must be ran out of tea. Corruption on Earth starts out with an unearthly tone and a super fuzzy, discordant, oscillating guitar of Shem Lucas over doom-paced drums provided by session drummer Cal Constantine that soon accelerate into more furious speeds and rolls, eventually slamming into blast beats. At almost 7 minutes long, there's plenty of time for tempo shifts and mood changes, as the reverent bass adding punch to slower segments. There is something about Nina Saidi's full, powerful vocals, notes elongated with that ululation warble, giving them that priestess-like ritual invocation veneration. You will be sure to have your arms stretched above your head. Who are we invoking? Oh, never mind, it's too good to care. While Waging War Against God features Lucas with quicker, more jangly guitar riffs that turn to an echoey Sabbath-informed groove. When all falls away for a second but Saidi, in an impassioned wail, the effect is gorgeously unsettling. The cries are layered and reverberate over each other, followed by invading blast beats, giving the listener a surreal effect. Saidi has more Persian additions, including the poignant violin-like Shruti box that weeps out notes for just over a minute at the start of May Your Ghost Drink Pure Water, before the guitar bounds in, fuzzed and shimmery with heartbeat slam drums that accelerate in and out of frantic speed. Check out Lucas's guitar gallop that gets picked up by Constantine's drums as the riffs turn sitar-like, Saidi delivering the last note in that undulating keen.
The best is saved for last here in the epic closer, Ghazal for the Embrace of Fire. Saidi's vocals are at first more a sing-song, going back and forth, straddling a few notes over hurried drum kit slams and a winding guitar. Drums slow to a battle-ready thud, kick drum running away as vocals elongate and spiral out in ripples. When Saidi slips into the Persian Farsi guttural tongue, she actually recites a Babylonian incantation for summoning a ghost over a palisade of guitar noise and slower stick slams. No Ouija board needed. The trance-like repeated chants had me worried that it might actually work, and I felt obligated to check the refrigerator to make sure Zool had not moved in.
Going.
The word Loan itself comes from the root meaning lion, and it can represent power, chaos, and the meeting of two cultures. What a perfect name for this band that embodies every faction. It is ironic that Saidi, being born of Iranian refugee parentage, will always be in exile from her homeland. Perhaps it is lucky, as metal is outlawed there, and a woman singing alone is also prohibited. Maybe it was providence, so that the rest of us can revel in this unique artistic expression, celebrating her Persian heritage, while more or less thumbing a nose at the current regime that is not as accepting as the ancients were. We can learn a lot from the stories of old. But I am pretty sure you would not have to tell me twice that going to war with demons of great strength and skilled sorcery isn't the best idea. If the result is this epic blend on offer here, I am willing to hit play again to take my chances with the ghosts.
This is the best review I've ever read. Good job. Okay, the song is called what?
Get your ghost sticks ready. This is Ghazal for the Embrace of Fire.
Okay, Deaf Ears 3 is the new EP from Every Hell, Vertebrae. My interest in Every Hell goes all the way back to 2021. I had just discovered a brilliant post-prog metal band from the UK called Black Peaks, and I was in the process of spinning their 2018 disc, All That Divides, for the 100th time, enjoying the combination of hooky vocals, mathy percussion, and huge guitar, when I saw a blip in some music rag that they broke up several months prior. Shit. The same thing happened when I discovered jalapeno chocolate flavored M&Ms. Yes, they were a thing, albeit short-lived, because I actually liked them.
That's everything. Everything I like.
Yep.
Flash forward to earlier this year, and I happened upon a quick blip and Kerrang mentioning singles from this new band Every Hell and vocalist Will Gardner. That name just sort of stuck with me. Eventually, I figured out it was the same Gardner from Black Peaks. Every Hell is his latest project, a 4-piece bashing out a sexy blend of heavy alt-rock with touches of post-hardcore, and we even get a taste of Gardner's saxophone skills here and there.
It's a short EP with 6 songs that fly by in about 20 minutes. The first thing that jumped out at me was the rock-solid rhythm section of ex-Black Peakers Mark Roberts on drums and bassist Alex Gosden. Particularly the bass tone of Gosden seems to be the pulse that literally keeps the machine ticking on time and allows Gardner to go completely out to lunch with the vocal, synth, and guitar arrangements, wailing, crooning, and agonizing in a furious din, sometimes all at the same time. The steady, heavy pound of Ghost was the first track to really grab my attention, the bass and drum trudge setting Gardner up to really take off vocally, building tension over verses to his O-ring popping scream that frosts the chorus.
Opener Bad Cop flirts with some post-hardcore speed, combined with his panicky vocal approach and some feedback squalls, suggesting something adjacent to Hot Snakes, with some saxophone hijinks. Reverie also deserves mention, a Deftone-esque creeper built on a wrought iron rhythm from Roberts, colored with some droning synths and perhaps Gardner's best temper tantrum on the EP.
Definitely recommend you get to shaking your noggin on the short EP, post-haste, and don't forget to check out a couple of Black Peaks albums as well. I felt we barely knew them. Plus, if anyone knows a decent jalapeno chocolate, come at me in the DMs. I need something. This song is called Reverie. was a good one. Daylight savings.
Daylight savings. And honestly, we sift through music that we choose because
Everything was British.
it was totally unintentional.
No.
It looks like it was the UK hour, but honestly, it was complete coincidence. Hand to God.
Yep. Yeah.
So
We actually had a Swedish band in, and something told me to take them out and put in something British. I don't know. So it didn't turn out to be that way. We didn't set out to do it, but whatever.
yeah, it happens. Like daylight savings time happens. I'm already over this getting dark at 5 p.m. bullshit. Hate it. And we gotta go through this month all the way to December 21st before it starts getting longer again.
I'm gonna call my accounting firm You Fucked Up Incorporated. I think seems to work for tow trucks.
This has been the Snaggletooth Rock and Roll Podcast. Special thanks to Cass and Josh from the Sewer Cats for appearing on the show. Love my shirt, guys. I think I'm going to add to the wall up here. Love you guys. Snaggletooth theme, courtesy of Jens Kemgren of the Firebombs. Deaf Ears theme by Tim Green of the Fucking Champs. Season 3 artwork, courtesy of KC Angel. You can find him on Instagram at KC Angel Art. So in addition to checking out Sewer Cats Obnoxious, get your pens out. Deaf Ears bands include The Very British, The Virgin Marys, Every Hell, and Loaded. All content 2024, the Snaggletooth Rock and Roll Podcast.
Season 4 right around the corner. In the meantime, Rue Britannia, bitches.
This is the Snaggletooth Rock and Roll Podcast.